Happy Monday, everyone. It's Kimberly Beer here with Make It Happen Monday. One thing you can do this week to better market your business. And today we're going to be talking about spring cleaning. Not the spring cleaning you do in your house, but the spring cleaning you do on your social profiles. And today's focus is going to be on LinkedIn. And we're going to take an opportunity to really look to see if you're up to date on the largest social business network. So first of all, let's have a little LinkedIn 102. So if you're not using your LinkedIn profile, you really are missing out. Now, you don't have to make LinkedIn a focus in your business for your social media marketing. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Or if it's not the place that you want to hang out, that's fine too. But you need to have your profile cleaned up in regardless. And I'm going to show you really a very clear reason why I say that on the next slide. But first, let's walk through these other bullet points on this one. LinkedIn is about connections. It is about who you know. You can choose to either connect with anyone and everyone, or you can choose to be really picky about your connections. It's hard to mix those two philosophies, however, so just choose how you want to proceed. In my personal way that I use LinkedIn, if I can further someone's career or they can further mine, then I consider that an automatic connection. If it falls outside of those two qualifications, then I have to give it some thought, whether it would be a good connection on LinkedIn or whether if it's a really personal connection, I really want to build that somewhere like Facebook where it's a more personal social situation. Posting on LinkedIn, by the way, should not be the stepchild of your other social platforms. Now, it's okay if you have like an ebook that you want to share all over social to post it on both Facebook and on LinkedIn. Just don't use the same post. Facebook is a more social platform where LinkedIn is a more professional platform. And your post verbiage and structure should reflect that. Company and brand pages are available on LinkedIn. It's outside of the scope of this little Make It Happen Monday spring cleaning episode, but I encourage you, if you haven't explored that, to go into LinkedIn and do so. LinkedIn is a great place to keep an eye out for good talent, and I'm not just talking about talent that you can hire full-time in your company, but I'm also talking about things like vendors or contractors that you could work with. It's also a really good place to keep an eye on your competition. So if you aren't kind of regularly checking out what the other people in your industry are up to, now would be a good time to do that in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is always expanding its tools and services, so check in with this network frequently if you want to keep up with it and the changes. Now, again, caveat that with the fact that you don't have to do that other than the profile. I say the profile is super important, and here's why. When someone Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile usually comes up in the top 3 searches. And here is my Google my name this morning that I did, and my Facebook profile comes up number 1, and then right underneath that is my LinkedIn profile, and then my websites, because I typically am going to promote more for the website name than I am for my own personal name, and my YouTube and photography channels come up under that, but LinkedIn comes up high. So if you are at all visible within your company, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, excuse me, an entrepreneur in a startup kind of a world where you are really relying on your name and yourself as the reputation for your business, then it's super important that your LinkedIn profile be up to date. And if you're looking for professional development or you're seeking to really improve your professional standing, and people are going to be looking at your LinkedIn profile or Googling you, then it's also really important to have that profile clean so that when people come to it, it is up to date and it does reflect what you are currently doing. So I have a lot of people ask me a lot of questions on LinkedIn. It's actually one of my best attended classes when I teach it live, like at Chambers of Commerce. And probably the most bizarre question I get from people, and they are a little bit sheepish about asking, is how do I even make a post on LinkedIn? So I want to address that here. Here's how you make a post. When you log in, it's going to be the topmost box. Now what's underneath that's your news feed, and if you scroll, all of that stuff is going to go up. But here is where you make a post. It says start a post. You just simply click in that area and start typing for your post. You can add various attachments, photos, movies, etc. You can also publish an article. Now, what is different here is a post is a more immediate thing, is where an article is something that is going to stick around a little bit longer. It's more of it's more of an article than a post. A post is a quick, short piece that you're pushing out to anyone and everyone that you're connected to. An article is more of a centerpiece or cornerstone piece of content that you want people to be able to get. So basic profile is where we want to begin. We want to start by looking at our profile in our spring cleaning efforts. And you're just going to simply go through your entire profile and you're going to look and you're going to see, is there anything out of date here? Have I added new skills? Have I had a new job? Is there anything here that I need to fix up? Or are there some things I need to clean out? So LinkedIn can get kind of dusty every once in a while because we tend to leave everything in there. And maybe some things are no longer pertinent to what you do. And maybe it's time to go ahead and take those off. Just like creating a really good resume, that job stint you had in the summer of 1984 at McDonald's is probably not relevant to where you are now. So to get there, you're going to click on the Me, where the big red arrow is, and then click on View Profile, where the tilted arrow is. And that's going to take you to your profile. Now, LinkedIn will often have suggestions that show up, and here they're noted with the next big red arrow. And you should pay attention to those particular suggestions. LinkedIn suggestions are based upon their automation at looking at your profile and seeing where it might have holes. So in this case, I might want to go back and look about my information that I have about my college area. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't think many people at this particular stage in my career hire me based off of my college education. And I will admit that my education background is in English and history, so it probably is not really that pertinent. But because it is missing some pieces, LinkedIn is saying, hey, you might want to take a look at this. So that would be worth me examining. If you continued on and I clicked on next, it shows up things like, did you really leave this job in this year? Or is this still your title at this particular company? So it has some really pertinent suggestions that it's going to ask you. Now, if you scroll on down this area a little bit, and we're still viewing the profile, by the way, we're not actually editing it. That comes a little bit later. You will come to a section that talks about recommendations. And this is a piece of the LinkedIn puzzle that I think is really important, whether you are using LinkedIn as a daily social network or whether you're using it as an occasional way to get people interested or to just back up what you tell the general public, and that's recommendations. So if you scroll down a bit, it's going to tell you, what recommendations you've received and also what recommendations that you've given. Now, I make it a practice to try to give out recommendations around once a quarter, and I try to do several, 3 to 5 every quarter. And then I have some ones here that are given. And then I also have my received recommendations. So really want to try to grow this area of your LinkedIn profile. So here I have one recommendation request that has come in, and I have an area where I can ask for more recommendations. And since this is a practice that I have really committed to since the first of the year, I'm going to start asking for recommendations here. Now, the recommendations I have been ones that I've asked for in person, but this is a really handy feature that LinkedIn has provided us. And I can see one of my connections has already taken advantage of that. So let's take a look at what a recommendation request made through LinkedIn actually looks like. So here it is. It's just a simple note. Now, this individual who requested a recommendation from me did it right. They didn't use the standard verbiage that LinkedIn provides. They actually took time to write a somewhat generic but still personalized note to me that says, I'm sending you this to ask you for a brief recommendation of my work so that I can include in my LinkedIn profile. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks in advance for helping me out. It's a really nice way for them to ask for a recommendation, and I can click on the right recommendation and take care of that for them. Now, from the other end, when you click on that, you're going to go through a couple of questions that LinkedIn is going to ask you. It's going to ask you, who do you want to send the recommendation to? And then what was your relationship with that individual? And then you're going to get to the personalized message part. And this is, again, just like the person who requested that recommendation from me, this is a place where I want to be really cognizant about writing a personal message. So I might say something like, I'm strengthening my profile on LinkedIn and would be grateful if you would consider leaving a recommendation. I also want to tell people, because I have had a little bit of shift in my focus over the last 25 years. I've gone from doing a lot more production work to now I do a lot more strategy and consulting and entrepreneurial development work. So I really want to highlight that on my LinkedIn profile because that's current. That's what people are coming to me for. It's what they're going to look on my LinkedIn profile about. So I would say I would love to highlight some of the results from the entrepreneurial development work we've been doing. Thank you, Kimberly Beer. So this is a way that you can be really personal in your request. Now, again, let's be realistic about LinkedIn. It moves at the pace of a snail. So a lot of times when you have put recommendations out, or when you have asked for a recommendation, others are using LinkedIn probably like you are. They're not power users. They're not in here every single day. So it may take a little while for them to realize that there is a recommendation request sitting there waiting for them to complete. That is why if you really are wanting to boost your LinkedIn profile, you should probably pick up the phone and talk to people about adding a recommendation to your LinkedIn profile organically. The second most common question I get in my classes when I teach LinkedIn is about editing their public URL. So that's the address you type in to get to your LinkedIn profile. And to do that, you're going to come back to that initial page when you log into LinkedIn, and you're going to look in the upper right hand corner, and there's going to be a little thing where it says edit public profile and URL. Click on that, and it's going to take you to the place where you can edit your profile. Now, here's where you would make all of those changes in your spring cleaning to your education or to your business experience, and take a look around to see if anything in there needs to be updated. And then come up and look at your URL. And if it's not your name, you probably need to claim your name or as close to your name as you're going to get. If you're Jane Smith, you've probably missed out on linkedin.com/in/Jane Smith. But get as close to you as you can to something recognizable and something that's at least easy for you to remember so that you're able to utilize this direct connection with the URL when you recommend that people come to your LinkedIn page. So a few last little tips just to remind you: update your profile frequently and update your connections every week. That means once a week, try to get into LinkedIn and take a look at who's requested a connection with you and do you want to approve that or decline it. Make sure that if you want to really use LinkedIn as a network that promotes your business, that you are making posts and growing your company page. If you have a need for a contractor, LinkedIn is a really good place to find them. If you're looking for employees, this is a great place for you to do some research on people and to be able to see if they'd be a good fit for your company. And also look for events and opportunities. I found some great networking events in Kansas City on LinkedIn, things that have been really beneficial for my business because I heard about them on LinkedIn. Then I went in person and connected with the people there and actually got business from it. So look for events, look for opportunities to be able to partner or to be involved in larger projects that people are talking about on LinkedIn. Now, one more shameless plug for my new app. if you wouldn't mind, drop by bemorebiz.com. That's B-I-Z, bemorebiz.com, and on your cell phone, and save the little icon to your homepage. Right now you can access Make It Happen Mondays. You can access my blog posts and some great videos that I have made that are hosted on YouTube and other places. As the summer progresses, we're going to be launching a lot more fun stuff here, and I can't wait to tell you more about it as it all gets to be possible. Thank you for tuning in today. Have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.